Every morning, the employees of Garrison Tech Company would walk past Harold Jenkins without a second thought. The old security guard, with his worn-out uniform and crooked cap, seemed like nothing more than part of the scenery. He shuffled along the marble lobby, nodded politely, and muttered greetings that were half-hearted at best. Most people found him a source of quiet amusement. "Does he even know how to use the walkie-talkie?" A young intern whispered to her colleague one morning. "Probably thinks it's a fancy remote for the coffee machine," the colleague replied, stifling a laugh. Harold didn't mind the jokes. He'd been in this building longer than anyone could remember and had seen employees come and go like waves on the shore. But he knew something they didn't, a truth hidden behind the ordinary facade of his quiet life. For years, Harold had been the unsung guardian of the company's secrets. While everyone assumed his days consisted of checking IDs and patrolling hallways, he had been quietly monitoring more than just security cameras. He was entrusted with protecting confidential files, safeguarding intellectual property, and even noticing small anomalies that could spell disaster. Yet to the staff, he was nothing more than the harmless, slow-moving old man whose stories no one remembered. It all came to a head on a dreary Tuesday morning. The company's main server room had been breached, and panic spread like wildfire. Sensitive data, including a high-profile client's project, was at risk. Panic-stricken IT staff scrambled to trace the breach, but no one could figure out how someone had bypassed security protocols so effortlessly. Meanwhile, Harold calmly adjusted his glasses, observing the chaos with an unsettling serenity. The younger guards rushed past him, tripping over wires and jostling each other in their hurry to respond. They didn't notice Harold quietly pressing a sequence of buttons on the security console, a set of commands he had memorized years ago but had never demonstrated. Minutes later, the culprit, a skilled hacker who had gained physical access through a forgotten side entrance, was caught red-handed. The hacker had assumed the old guard was a mere distraction, someone to ignore while he executed his plan. But Harold's decades of experience and meticulous attention to detail left him one step ahead. When the IT manager stormed into the lobby, flustered and frustrated, he froze at the sight of Harold, holding the intruder at bay with nothing more than a calm voice and a subtle gesture. How did you—" the manager stammered. Harold simply shrugged. "Old habits, son. Been doing this longer than some of your employees have been alive." Word of Harold's heroics spread like wildfire through the company. The same employees who had whispered jokes behind his back now approached him with newfound respect. "I never realized," said one young analyst, her face flushed with embarrassment. "You never thought he was more than a polite old man," another muttered. Harold smiled, a twinkle of satisfaction in his eyes. "I guess I've been underestimated for a while," he said. The company's CEO personally called a meeting in the lobby to commend Harold. Standing before the entire staff, she spoke with pride and gravity. "Harold Jenkins is not just a security guard. He is the reason our company avoided what could have been a catastrophic data breach today. His diligence, his foresight, and his unwavering dedication saved the day." There were gasps, whispered apologies, and a few awkward chuckles from those who had mocked him. But Harold paid little attention. He was used to being overlooked, and he didn't need recognition to feel the satisfaction of a job well done. In the weeks that followed, Harold's role at the company subtly changed. While he remained at the front desk, his input was now sought in planning security protocols. He trained younger guards not just in procedure, but in the wisdom that only decades of experience could provide. And slowly, the employees who had once laughed at him began to see him not as a quaint relic, but as a mentor and protector. One afternoon, as Harold made his usual rounds, he passed the young intern who had once mocked him. She hesitated, then spoke softly. "Mr. Jenkins." "I'm sorry for laughing at you." Harold paused, smiling gently. "No harm done. People often judge what they don't understand. I suppose that's natural, but how did you know exactly what to do back there?" "You were incredible," she said, awe in her eyes. Harold leaned on his cane, looking at the intricate web of hallways, cameras, and offices. "It's simple, really. You watch, you learn, and you never stop paying attention. That's how you survive and sometimes how you protect others." The intern nodded, realizing that the quiet old man they had laughed at held wisdom far beyond their understanding. By the end of the year, Harold's reputation had transformed entirely. He became a symbol of reliability, patience, and quiet strength. The employees who had mocked him now sought his advice, often pausing to listen to the stories he shared from a lifetime of vigilance. And though Harold never boasted, he quietly enjoyed the irony. Those who had underestimated him were now the ones who depended on him the most. They had laughed at the old security guard, yes. But in the end, the truth came out, and it was more powerful than anyone could have imagined. Thanks for watching.